purpose, grow stronger every day. You're watching Personal Development TV, your one-stop place where change begins with you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Joseph Beaton, and welcome back to Personal Development TV. You feel it, don't you? That nagging feeling that you're just on autopilot, living a life that doesn't quite feel like yours. That deep down sense that there's something more out there for you. For years, I was right there with you, stuck in a reality I thought I couldn't change. I was stuck in what they call the quiet desperation of comfort, knowing my real potential was just sitting on a shelf, locked away behind a wall of fear and so-called practicality. It all starts when you finally admit to yourself that the path you're on just isn't cutting it anymore. And you know what? You're right. You were meant to do something great with your life. I felt that way for years until I made one single decision that changed everything. It wasn't some 10-step plan or a magic pill. It was a terrifying, liberating leap of faith. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you my story. I'm going to give you the exact steps I took so you can take your own leap and completely reshape your reality. The prison of comfort. For the longest time, my life looked perfect on paper. I had the stable job, the predictable income, the path everyone tells you is the right one. But every morning, I'd wake up with this hollow feeling in my chest, like I was an actor playing a role in someone else's movie. I was safe, sure. I was comfortable. But I was also profoundly unfulfilled. And let's be honest, that constant feeling of unfulfillment, that pit in your stomach, it's not just a bad mood. It's a giant, blinking sign telling you it's time for something new. My comfort zone had become a cage with velvet bars. I spent years trying to silence that inner voice whispering, there has to be more than this. I'd distract myself with promotions, with busy work, with chasing the next milestone that I thought would finally make me happy. Spoiler alert, it never did. That feeling of being stuck, of dreading Monday morning, it was my constant companion. I was living with this gnawing conflict between the life I had and the life I could feel calling to me. And that feeling of being torn between safety and a deeper calling, that's the starting block for any real transformation. The fear was paralyzing. What if I failed? What if I gave up all this security and ended up with nothing? What would people think? These fears can hold you hostage because we keep waiting for the right time to feel comfortable with a big change. And that time never comes. I was so afraid of the unknown that I was choosing the certainty of being miserable over the possibility of being happy. Then one day, the pain of staying the same finally became greater than the fear of change. I was sitting at my desk, staring out the window, and I realized I was just waiting. Waiting for the weekend, waiting for retirement, waiting for a day that might never even come. In that moment, I made the decision. It wasn't about quitting my job, not yet. The decision was internal. It was the decision to finally trust myself. To believe that the voice inside me knew better than all the expectations of the outside world. It was the decision to choose growth over comfort, no matter how messy it got. That was the key that opened the door. The rest was just having the guts to walk through it. the 5 steps of the leap, making that one internal decision was the spark. But a spark doesn't do much without some fuel. So how do you actually go from a gut feeling to a new reality? I found the journey breaks down into 5 real, concrete steps. These aren't magic tricks. They're a practical roadmap for navigating the chaos of a leap of faith. First, you have to set a clear intention. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's about getting crystal clear on what you're moving towards, not just what you're running from. For me, it wasn't just, I want to be happy. It was specific. I intend to build a life where my work is a direct expression of my creativity and my desire to help people. Your intention becomes your compass. When everything else feels like it's spinning, it points you north. The second step, and this is the hardest one for most of us, is to surrender the outcome. You've set your direction, but you have to let go of controlling exactly how you get there. Big, life-altering choices are messy and unpredictable by nature. I had to accept that I had no idea what my new career would look like or how I'd even make money. It requires a genuine trust in the process and in yourself. If you knew for sure it would all work out, it wouldn't be called a leap of faith, would it? Third, you need to look for signs and open doors. I'm not talking about waiting for a lightning bolt from the heavens. I mean, just pay attention. Once I set my intention, I started noticing things I'd been blind to before. A friend mentioning a workshop, an article that sparked an idea, a chance meeting with someone who'd made a similar jump. These aren't just coincidences, they're feedback. When you're focused and aligned, you start to see the little breadcrumbs that make up the path forward. The fourth step is the leap itself. You have to jump before you feel 100% ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's being terrified and doing it anyway. Real growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. There will never, ever be a perfect moment. You will always have doubts. That's just part of the deal. I remember the day I handed in my resignation. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I was not ready. But I knew if I waited until I was, I'd be waiting forever. Finally, the fifth and most crucial step is to trust and believe over and over again. The moment after you leap is when the real work begins. Doubts will creep back in. Fear will show up at your door again. This is where you have to relentlessly build your self-belief. You do this by surrounding yourself with the right people, mentors, friends, anyone that supports your growth. I found a mentor who'd walked a similar path, and their guidance was priceless. You celebrate the tiny wins. You remind yourself of your vision. And you understand that setbacks aren't failures. They're just detours. And sometimes they lead you somewhere even better. The new reality, let me be clear, the time right after my leap was not glamorous. It was a cocktail of pure terror and absolute exhilaration. There were days I sat on my floor and questioned every single choice I had ever made. But slowly, by sticking to those 5 steps, a new reality started to take shape. By surrendering the outcome, I opened myself up to opportunities I could never have planned. My intention was to be creative and helpful, and that path led me from freelance writing to coaching and eventually to building this very platform to share what I have learned. It wasn't a straight line, it was a scenic route with a lot of unexpected and frankly amazing twists. The transformation was profound, but not just on the outside. Yeah, my career changed, and I found a level of fulfillment I honestly didn't think was possible. But the biggest change was internal. Taking that leap remade me. I was no longer someone who was afraid of the unknown. I became someone who was curious about it. I proved to myself that I could handle whatever came my way, and that gave me a deep, unshakable confidence that no one could ever take away. The life I live now feels authentic. It feels like mine. It's not about being fearless. It's about knowing that my ability to grow is so much bigger than my fear. It's about understanding that my life didn't change in one huge, dramatic explosion, but in the small, consistent actions that followed one pivotal decision. I learned that success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about having the courage to look it in the eye, learn from it, and keep going. And if this message hit home for you, subscribe to the channel for more on how to build a life you truly love. More importantly, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me one leap of faith you're thinking about making in your own life. You have that nagging feeling for a reason. It's not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're ready for more. It's your gut telling you that your potential is waiting to be unleashed. Change isn't just possible, it's what you were made for. It all begins the moment you decide to stop jogging through life and start sprinting towards the person you were always meant to be. The journey of a lifetime begins with a single decision. And that decision isn't out there somewhere in the world. It's inside you, right now, waiting to be made. Your future self is waiting. What are you going to decide today?
Unlock your purpose, grow stronger every day. You're watching Personal Development TV, your one-stop place